Welcome everyone to the ARM Dev Summit 2021 session on AI accelerated user experiences and security with Windows on Snapdragon compute platforms. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Rami Husseini, Director of Product Management for Qualcomm Technologies. I'm focused on the strategic partnership across ecosystem providers to build unique UI and security applications for the Snapdragon compute platform. I'm very excited to have Marcus join us today as he has such an extensive knowledge in this domain.
Thanks, Rami. Marcus Perryman. I work for Microsoft as a principal engineer in the Windows team, and my focus is on first and third party experiences on the Windows ARM platform. I'm glad to be here with Qualcomm. It's very exciting at the Dev Summit.
Thanks, Marcus. There's been an incredible acceleration over the past year and a half of the digital transformation. While Qualcomm saw the direction we were headed, we've seen an unprecedented pace where transitions that were expected to take months or even years have happened over a matter of weeks or months. We've seen dramatic changes in how we live, with growing importances of PCs as we virtually connect with family, friends, and more. We've seen businesses and education shift to work and learn from anywhere as schools have remote learning and work continues to have a hybrid work environment. This has accelerated the transformation necessary for the expansion of work and education environments to enable productivity outside of the traditional offices at an unbelievable rate and enormous scale.
Yes, and from Microsoft's perspective, we've also seen a huge shift with the hybrid work environment, and it applies to all walks of life and work. And from our perspective, it's been driving growth in many areas, some surprising, some quite obvious. For example, Microsoft 365 usage has grown, supporting the ability to work from anywhere while still collaborating and being productive. We've seen the demand for mobile, capable, secure devices that support your work environment in any environment. And we've seen overnight demands change to be online, to be powered by depth and breadth of the Azure cloud services, and to enable scale with security. And we've seen growth in entertainment, growth in playtime on Xbox, with demand for Xbox Cloud to take your gaming experience onto any device wherever you are. And of course, in Teams, driving the improvement cycle and shortening that for group conferences, providing accessibility for all while working wherever you need to be with things like transcribing, real-time transcribing in meetings. And of course, with Windows 11 announcement and release just around the corner, that was born to be a custom-made new home for all of these demands in the world we are in now, providing trustworthy and dependable platform with modern computing, always connected, always up to date, and always relevant.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, Marcus. The transformation of having devices always connected to cloud resources is really enabling this remote learning and work environment. And of course, Qualcomm has always been a leader in connectivity, and we bring market-leading Wi-Fi, 4G, and 5G solutions to the Windows platform to enable those cloud services that Microsoft has built in their infrastructure. Some of these services actually have a lot of AI incorporated into them. You can think of AI as being workloads that happen in the cloud as well as happen on the edge. Cloud workloads, for example, could be security related, where you're doing reputation analysis for files to see if to kind of give a risk score on files. It could also be cloud resources that can do real-time translation between people talking on a video call. But then at the same time, that connectivity to the device, over 5G or enhanced Wi-Fi is needed to kind of give you the high throughput and fast latency that'll deliver the content to your device. In some cases, though, you will need real-time AI inference, and that's where on-device AI comes into picture. And in this case, for example, where on a video call you might have a background blur, you'll need faster inference and faster AI calculations. And so Snapdragon brings market-leading AI to the edge, and we'll be covering that throughout this presentation.
Yeah, from Microsoft, as you know, we've got our Azure offering, which brings heavy-hitting cloud-based AI like conversational bots, voice transcription, as you mentioned, video analyzers, even our metric advisor. And it's all backed by cognitive services that can be programmed and configured, task-based models, specific models, and Azure machine learning. And the goal of these services is to deliver the right experience that we need with the right capabilities at the right point to weigh the cost, that's the power cost, the time cost, the data cost against the results. Because when we have complex AI requirements, cloud power is needed. But actually, there are significant advantages in all three of those: power, time, and data. When we think about certain scenarios, the edge power is needed to give rapid response to experiences like smart filters, command recognition, input pattern recognition, so gesturing, eye tracking, biometrics, those very packaged experiences that benefit significantly from AI at the edge. And in order to deliver on our promise of multi-day battery life for our devices, the choice in this needs to be right. Edge devices running Windows 11 need the performance and efficiency of on-device AI acceleration, and but there is definitely a need and a benefit for cloud AI. We see significant opportunities for using on-device AI to accelerate the emerging experiences and keep those experiences secure.
Thanks, Marcus. It's been a great collaboration with Microsoft to deliver a Snapdragon system on chip that really has a modern architecture where you can distribute workloads across different specialized cores. So in addition to a CPU and a GPU, we also have an AI core that specializes in AI computation, and that allows you to run AI workloads at really high performance with minimal power consumption. Obviously, AI is a pretty broad technology, and the beautiful thing about it is, having worked with ecosystem partners across a breadth of applications, we've seen AI used across so many different use cases. So if your app, for example, is video conference based, you can use our AI engine to implement your virtual background or your background blur to kind of run your AI workloads there, while your CPU handles more of the kind of standard tasks. In addition to video conferencing, let's say you have an image-based application. Within image-based applications, you might apply filtering. So all of your filtering logic, all of your ML and AI for that can also be run on this AI specialized core. Things that allow you to do that are, from an application use case perspective, include refining the edges, changing the contrast, and other applications. Within the same domain, we've actually worked with one developer who actually has a pretty cool technology. You can take a photo that you took with a camera and then use AI to convert that into a sketch. And then that sketch would be your baseline sketch. And then on top of that, you can use your artistic skills to kind of refine the sketch as well. So a lot of unique ways to implement AI across video and image. But we've also seen AI pretty heavily used now within security to run behavioral analysis to detect how different applications are working, to see if an application is behaving in a risky manner, and to respond accordingly, as well as computer vision to detect objects. So one of the things we've seen in computer vision is the ability to kind of detect users and implement continuous authentication, as well as object detection and classification. But one of my favorite areas is also in natural language processing. So one area we're very familiar with is voice commands. So another way to receive user input is through voice commands, which then your application can detect and then actually be able to apply different use cases. Obviously, Microsoft has such an extensive array of applications, and I'd love to hear about the different AI opportunities from Marcus that could be used across the portfolio.
Yeah, thanks, Rami. So, I mean, there are many opportunities, as you say, for AI powered optimization. And just picking up on some of the areas you mentioned, like Windows Hello, for example, where we do analysis of the face for security, Teams for videos and video enhancements. We have demonstration of gaze tracking, audio denoise, and multiple mic tracking for picking up the voice better. We've got photos integration. One specific example is third-party extensions, like including things like the Skylum Luminar product, which does AI-based replacement of different aspects of the video. Very powerful stuff. Within some of our security products, the opportunities there for things like Windows Defender to use AI, as you describe, for detecting attacks and bad behavior. And of course, across our Office product, many opportunities for AI to be present, for example, in the predictive suggestions during editing of a Word document. So yeah, in many places, there are the opportunities, and that's just a limited set of the portfolio.
Oh, those are fantastic and really bring some rich experiences to the application ecosystem. And we're happy to work with you with this ecosystem to implement similar experiences in your breadth of applications. So now that we kind of have a good overview of how AI and ML could be used across a breadth of application scenarios, let's spend a minute and look at kind of how the Snapdragon system on chip architecture, along with Windows, provides a solution that allows you to optimize on your AI workloads. So if you look at the system on chip architecture, it's essentially a set of distributed cores. You have a CPU that does all of your general purpose processing, and then it has distributed specialized cores, such as an AI engine that does AI workloads, image signal processing that can handle camera workloads and really provide super resolution and optimize the quality of the image. We also obviously have a GPU for graphics and video, and then obviously audio codecs that handle audio processing. But what I'm excited to talk to you about today is specifically our AI engine. This is our 5th generation AI engine, so it brings a lot of technology, multi-year technology into the solution. And what it does is, if you look at what AI is really just PhD level math. And that math is what allows you to do things like the background blur or the filtering and be able to detect objects and do inference. Obviously, that level of math today on traditional processors could be done on the CPU, GPU. They just take a lot more steps because those, the operators in the CPU and GPU, aren't as refined or specialized for AI type of math. When we talk about the NPU, it has specific operators that allow you to do things in AI like stochastic gradient or different types of inference models like convolution networks really fast and optimized, and super high performance at a low profile. And that way you can bring your models from the cloud to the edge and run them in real time. So if you're familiar with AI, there's definitely a number of frameworks out there, such as PyTorch, TensorFlow, Caffe, and Onyx, that you've probably written your models on. Our Snappy SDK supports those models, and you'll be able to take those exact same models and just run them directly, leveraging our Snappy SDK on the NPU. And one of the exciting things that on our platform is that our AI engine works across our entire stack of Windows on Snapdragon processors. So it'll be supported on the 8CX, the 8C, and the 7C, as well as horizontally across our Snapdragon portfolio, covering mobile, IoT, and obviously compute. So you can start to bring these rich experiences across platforms and then across Windows on Snapdragon level of devices to really bring that rich experience from the work from anywhere environment to the remote learning environment and beyond. So would be great to hear more from your end, Marcus, on things within Microsoft.
So Rami, let me give you an example. If we go back to the Surface Pro X launch, in the launch event, Panos actually demonstrated a feature of Teams that was based upon this core on the SQ1 core and using the NPU specifically for gaze correction. Now, this is a feature that when you look at a device screen, quite often the screen is below the camera, and so when you're looking at the person on Teams, then you're looking below their actual what they're seeing in terms of the presentation they've got. So you're looking at their picture. And what the feature we introduced was corrected the eyes. So it scanned the picture frame by frame, and it identified where the eyes were using AI, so image recognition, and it then adjusted the eyes so that that the image that was going out and that was seen by the other person looked as if they were looking you in the eye. So even though they're looking below the camera, we were correcting it so it's eye to eye contact, which makes for a much stronger pull into the application. It feels like you're actually having a closer connection. Now, that's been possible in software for some time, but the thing that was standout about seeing this on the Surface Pro X using the SQ1 chip was that a traditional AI model to do some work like this is around sort of 15 watts of power use. But because we were using the accelerated capability of the SQ1, we were down around 0.3 watts, or about 50 times smaller than a traditional software. And that's really the thing that underlines the edge capability that's powered by the system on chip core improvements that Qualcomm are doing here. It enables that modern experience while still delivering multi-day battery life. And it's about getting that power perf profile right in our applications that delights users, because you have to trade power for capability and bring some of these AI workloads to the edge in order to meet both of those goals.
That's amazing. I mean, 15 watts on a traditional platform reduced down to 0.3 watts is incredible. I mean, that enables so many different use cases and models to be brought down to the edge for that real-time fast inference and rich AI experiences. So Qualcomm has a team of engineers who are working with ecosystem partners to help create such AI-rich experiences. And we're happy to point to the QDN page, which includes a form that you can reach out to us and request access to this SDK, and we'll pair you with engineers to help build out these rich experiences. We're excited to be collaborating with the ecosystem to evaluate the models and really bring these experiences to market. Similar to the one that Marcus had mentioned for the gaze correction, as well as the many different breadth of user experiences that we shared across image processing, video conferencing, security, natural language processing, and all different types of applications.
And let me just jump in there and also add some stuff about the tools that Microsoft. So if you're the Microsoft are delivering, so if you are building for Windows on ARM and you want to make use of these capabilities on Windows on ARM, Microsoft continually updates its tool sets. You'll know that Visual Studio 2022 is in pre-release and will support Windows 11 development with improvements coming out monthly with that product set, sorry. And if you're interested in finding out more about Windows on ARM, there are 3 other sessions that I'm going to plug here that are worth taking a look at this year's Dev Summit. So one by Mark Sweetgold, who's in our Windows-based team. He'll be talking about an introduction. Harry Polopaka is also doing a high level and a future look at where Windows on ARM is going. And I've got another session which is doing a deep dive on debugging and actually just using the platform. But let me underline what Rami just said about NPU opportunities. So if you've got an AI opportunity that you want help with, or you're looking to bring to the Windows on ARM platform, then please reach out to Microsoft and to Qualcomm, and we can assist with co-designing that experience for your application.
Thanks, Marcus. Yeah, real exciting to see all the many sessions that Microsoft is leading within this ARM Dev Summit to kind of discuss the Windows on ARM ecosystem and collaborate with the ecosystem providers. As we all know, the digital transformation has accelerated with the work from anywhere, learn from anywhere, and this lifestyle that's moving into more of a kind of work travel anywhere type of environment. And so what we want to do is bring these experiences to market, and excited to work with the ecosystem to bring these rich AI experiences. We appreciate, thanks Marcus for joining us and providing us such your excellent breadth of knowledge in this area.
Yes, thanks, Rami. Glad to be here, and really excited for where this is going with AI and specifically the Qualcomm cores.
Perfect, thank you. And thanks everyone for joining, and we look forward to working with you.